of India, Mr. Ajay Prakash, with us. Mr. Prakash, thanks for joining in amidst a busy schedule of hosting our convention and all the meetings. How are things going on?
Busy, very busy.
Okay,
The convention is happening after a gap of 4 years,
okay.
and there's a lot of work to be done, of course, but there's also a lot of excitement. We've had a tremendous response from our membership. We had set target of 500, and we pretty much closed registrations a couple of days ago because we're there. Now it's a question of putting it all together intelligently, effectively, and in a fun way.
Okay, so tell me what made TAFI select Malaysia as the destination over Indian states, especially after the pandemic, where we had a lot of people talking about how domestic tourism is important and it came as a savior. So, what made you select an international destination over our Indian states?
Well, we've been wanting to hold a convention in India for a while. Uh, and perhaps it's the boom in domestic tourism that is the reason that we didn't get the support that we'd anticipated from the Indian states,
Okay.
because domestic tourism has done very well. For example, Kashmir has had an unprecedented, summer season.
Hmm, hmm,
All the other hill stations have done very well as well. The resort destinations have done extremely well,
hmm.
and therefore perhaps there is no immediate hunger, as it were, for getting a convention in. On the other hand, the world is wooing the Indian tourist.
Hmm.
With China having pretty much closed down,
Yes.
the next biggest market is, of course, India. And the Indian tourist is a spender, and the world has recognized that. So we got a tremendous amount of support from Tourism Malaysia, who
Hmm,
were very, very forthcoming with their support. With them, we had the support of the Sarawak Tourism Board. We had the support of Business Events Sarawak and our official carrier, Malaysia Airlines. So putting all this together uh, made the convention extremely viable, and therefore we chose Kuching, which is comparatively unexplored for the Indian travel trade.
yes. Yes.
We've done a convention in Malaysia and Borneo many years ago in
Hmm,
the province of Sabah.
hmm,
So there are these two provinces, Sabah and Sarawak,
hmm,
which are
hmm,
Malaysian in
hmm.
Borneo.
Okay.
And so, considering that we have always looked to explore new destinations
Hmm,
and to give our members the opportunity to uh, to experience a destination for themselves, which then equips them better to come back and sell it. It's also a very unique destination in the sense that it abuts a huge rainforest,
okay.
and it's one of the few rainforests that is still surviving. As we all know, the Amazon rainforest has been cut down at
Yes.
an alarming rate every year.
Drastically. Yeah.
So yes, I mean, these are some of the reasons that we chose Malaysia
Okay.
and Kuching in particular.
Okay. So tell me something. What is the underlying theme? What is your focus and agenda for this convention?
The theme of the convention is Build Back Better.
Okay.
Very simply, what we're talking is about the need to reorient our business strategies.
Hmm. Hmm.
Tourism thrives on the planet, on the beauty of the planet, on the diversity of the planet, on
Hmm.
the excitement that
Hmm.
the
Hmm. Hmm.
different cultures, regions, etc., offer us. But tourism also can have a negative impact in
Hmm.
terms of denuding the or degrading the environment that
Hmm.
it actually thrives upon. And so the idea of Build Back Better is to drive home the fact that there are certain lessons that we've all learned from the pandemic.
Hmm. Hmm.
Primary among them is the fact that you cannot continue to abuse nature
Hmm.
indefinitely.
Hmm.
She
Hmm.
has a way of striking back.
Hmm.
And we've seen it, 2 years, the world came to a halt.
Yes.
Now, none of us want such a situation to happen.
Hmm.
And therefore, it's important that we are more mindful, we are more responsible, we are more sensitive
Hmm.
as we seek to get business back on track. Of course, you
Okay.
cannot ignore the profit motive. The purpose of business is to create profit,
Hmm.
but it has to be done in a responsible manner,
Yes.
in a sustainable manner. Because if the destination does not survive, if the local culture does not survive, then what are we going to be selling as a tourist experience?
True.
We are a very large industry, Disha. We account as for close to 10% of global GDP. In the island states, the GDP contribution of tourism goes as high as 40 and 50%.
Yes.
But globally, you can easily say that we account for 10% of global GDP. We account for 10% of global employment directly and indirectly. An industry of this size has clout.
Hmm.
The other industries that are of a comparable size or maybe even smaller have got together and leveraged that strength. The tourism industry, unfortunately, hasn't. Because today, when you account for 10% of global GDP, you have the power to change the world. And that's what we're talking about. That the industry needs to come together to refocus, to rethink, to re engineer, and come back and say, look, this is how this world ought to be doing business. I mean, the prime, the 3 R's of environmental concern: refuse, reduce, recycle. All these, in our own small ways, each one of us has to make that effort. And that's what we're going to be talking about: how each one of us can make a difference. Because don't underestimate the power of one. People tend to think, oh, what can I do all by
Hmm.
myself? Well, there's a whole lot of us. And if each one of us does our bit, I'm sure we can make a huge difference.
So how are you
Because
going to
tourism is this one industry. Sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to understand how are you going to bring this message of responsible and sustainable tourism on this platform? Are you going to be having experts on these subjects to talk about, or because a lot has been spoken about these things. How are you going to do it differently this time?
Well, of course, you have to talk about that. You have to get the experts in. But more importantly, we have to try and devise some methodology which makes it measurable.
Okay.
When I mean, even small things. When you go to a convention and you find that convention hall is so chilled, I mean, it's at 18 degrees. You don't need it at 18
Hmm.
degrees. People are putting on jackets because they're
Jackets,
cold.
yes.
You go there, there's a mountain of disposable plastic one-time use water bottles. That can be done away with. Small things all add up. So we're going to be talking about this because the impact of tourism, there's the environmental impact, there's the social impact, and
There's
there's the
economic impact.
cultural impact. And of course, along with that has come ESG, so that's
Hmm.
environment and governance as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
So we're getting in experts who've practiced this, achieved a certain degree of success, to talk about some of these issues. And hopefully, we'll come back with at least a greater awareness of the responsibility that the travel and tourism industry needs to take on to make that difference.
Okay.
Climate change is a reality. I
Yes.
mean, we can't hide our
Ignore
head
it.
in the sand on that
Yes.
anymore. So if climate change is going to be a reality and the destinations that we're hoping to sell keep getting degraded, the loss is of the industry, of humanity, but directly of the industry as well.
Yes. Fair enough. And tell me, how are you looking at this convention to help boost regional tourism? Because that is what a lot of people have, you know, been talking about, and how this we need region specific tourism to grow
See,
collectively.
we have a very, it's a dream, but ideally, if we could do a visa, a regional visa, like the Schengen states have done,
Hmm.
that would be an enormous, enormous aid to boosting tourism within the region. We've seen that almost 75 to 80% of tourism happens intra-region,
Yes.
and the long-haul tourism is a much, much smaller percentage.
Hmm.
So we need to make it easier for people to travel within the region. Also, given the fact that there's been a huge backlog of visas for
Hmm.
the European
The
countries
countries.
and the US and Canada, and the airfares have been inordinately high, to explore the region and the short haul destinations makes eminent sense. There's also a certain amount of commonality of cultures which make it easier. You're going to Thailand, you're going to Malaysia, you're going to Indonesia. Food is one of the most important things for the Indian traveler. So, yes, we should be looking at creating opportunities for greater tourism within the region, or at least within the broader region, which could be classified as a relatively short haul. Say, flights of up to 5 hours instead of those 8 and 10 and 16-hour flights.
Okay.
Also,
And
the ease of visas, that's a big help. It's a big help.
okay. And since this convention is happening after 4 years, the world has completely changed. We've seen 2 long years of the pandemic. How is this edition of your convention is going to be different from the past?
Every TAFI convention is different, because each destination uh, produces its own attractions, compulsions, whatever you wish to call them. We've done conventions in Macau, in South Africa, in Abu Dhabi, in Israel, um, even in Malaysia. So each convention really depends on what people bring to it. And this convention will again depend upon the members who are coming to the convention and what hopes and aspirations they come with, what new ideas they come with. So we're going to see how, but I can assure you it's going to be interesting. I cannot tell you how different or in what way it would be different. The one difference definitely would be the focus on sustainability, on responsible tourism, which from being mere buzzwords have become a compelling necessity. And that's what we would like to focus on.
And my last question to you, I want to know the kind of lineup of speakers are you bringing on board for this convention?
We have people from a large corporation that's doing a major work in the ESG sphere. Of course, we've got some airlines, we've got the GDSs, we've got people who are looking at. You see, one of the things that has happened is that from being totally dependent upon airline commissions, we've had to come to terms with the fact that airlines have very often turned a cold shoulder to agents.
Yes.
And therefore, it's incumbent upon us to find
New avenues.
alternative new avenues of revenue. So we've got speakers who've created these avenues, which are complementary to what the travel services that we provide are. So we've got people from companies like that. Um, what else do we have? We are, and we're going to be talking amongst ourselves primarily to see, because when you meet and talk, and everybody has had different experiences over these last 2 years, so there's a lot to learn from each other.
Okay.
Uh, yeah, that's what we'll be looking to do.
Thank you, Mr. Prakash. That sounds like a lot of exchange of new and renewed ideas. Looking forward to your convention and a lot of important discussion points that come out of it.
Thank you so much, Disha. Always a
Thank you
pleasure to speak
so
to you.
thank you so much for your time.
Have a
Thank you.
right.